Okay, I did these on 3 different slides. I thought that I might need a little bit more room for it, but maybe not. We'll see. But let's do it. Um, we are factoring each expression and then we're going to check the answer. So if we factor, we know that we have a leading coefficient here of 1. So that's going to just break down this way. We're just going to get r times r. Okay? Now, we are next going to check and say, what do the signs need to be for these two? And when I look here, I look at the constant term at the end and I say, oh, it was a negative. How do you multiply to get a negative number? Well, you must have had a positive times a negative. So we know we have one of each. Okay. And that means that eventually when we make our list for 27, we'll have to subtract the two numbers to get this middle number 6. Okay, so I'm going to list 27 out. 27. How are all the ways that we can get 27? 1 times 27. 2 times anything? No, it's not even. So we don't have to, no other, if it doesn't work for 2, it won't work for any even number. 3 times anything? 3 times 9. 4 times anything? It's even. It didn't work for 2, it won't work for 4. 5 times anything? No, it's not. It doesn't end in 0 or 5. 6 times anything? Well, if it worked for 6, that would mean we could double this to get 6, but if we took half of that, we wouldn't end up with a whole number. So doubling this to 6 means 6 times half of this won't give us 2 whole numbers. It doesn't work for 6. 7 times anything? No, it's not a multiple of 7. 27 is not a multiple of 7. 8 times anything? Nope. If it doesn't work for 2, it's not going to work for any multiple of 2. And now 9 is the next number, but that's already listed here. So we've kind of met in the middle, checked everything from this going up until what this one came down to. Okay, so question is, which two numbers, because they're opposite signs, we're going to get some positive r's here and some negative r's here. We're going to have to subtract two numbers. Which two numbers subtract to be 6? Well, as you can see, these two numbers are going to subtract to be 6. Now, the question is, where do we put them? Because we don't have the same sign in both places. So we can't just drop them in anywhere. What we need to do is say this. I have, well, what we see over here is that it says positive 6. Okay, so that means the bigger number of 3 and 9, the bigger number has to go with positive. And once we plop it in and check it, you'll see why. Okay, that's 9. That's negative 3. And this is why. If we were now going to FOIL this back together to check it, then watch what happens. R times R squared. Outer, R times negative 3. Negative 3R. Inner, 9 times R, 9R. And last, 9 times negative 3, negative 27. Okay, these two are going to combine to make the R term. And if we were going to be left over at the end, they were going to combine to be a positive 6, then there needed to be more positives than negatives. That's why we needed to make the bigger number go with the positive sign. So that there would be positives left over and the middle term would end up being a positive number. So when we put them together, we get R squared plus 6R minus 27. And that is what we started with. So did it right, check. We can move a little faster with these, I think. Let's just write it out, okay? We've got Z and Z. And we're going to look here and say, what is the constant term at the end? That's a negative number. How do you multiply to get a negative? You must have a 1 of each sign. Positive times negative gives you negative. So we put 1 of each. Okay. Now we're going to list our factors of 8. Write 8 over here. Sorry. I'm going to put 8 over here. Say, how do we get 8? We can do it 1 times 8. We can do 2 times 4. Can we do 3 times anything? No. And we've now met in the middle because the next number 4 is already listed over here. So because they're opposite signs, we're going to have to subtract. Which two numbers subtract to be 2? That middle coefficient. Well, these two numbers subtract to 2. Okay. Because that middle term is positive, we need the bigger number going with the positive. So the 4 goes there, and the 2 goes there. So we think we factored it. Now we're going to multiply them back together to check it. Okay. Z times z, z squared. That's first. Outer, z times -2, -2z. Inner, 4 times z, 4z. And last, 4 times -2, -8. These two terms can combine, and we get z squared plus 2z minus 8. And that is what we started with. So check, we did it right. One more to go. We're going to do the same thing with this one. So because that leading coefficient here is 1, that's a 1 in front, we know that we just have v times v. Okay. Now we're going to look here, and we're going to say that is a negative. How do you multiply to get a negative number? Well, you must have one of each sign, so we must have a positive and a negative. Okay? And now I need to list the factors of 36. So 36. We've got always 1 times the number to start. Can I do 2 times anything? Yeah, it's an even number, so I can do 2 times half of that, which is 18. Can you do 3 times anything? Yeah, it's a multiple of 3 because if you add the digits 3 plus 6 from 36, then you get 9, and 9 is a multiple of 3, so the whole thing is. So you do 3 times what? You might know this, 3 times 12. Can you do 4 times anything? Well, let's look at what we got. We've already got 2 times something. Can we double 2 and take half of the other matching number? Yeah, we can actually. Look, if we double 2, we get 4. And if we take half of 18, we get 9. Still even numbers, so that works. Can we do 5? No, 36 is not a multiple of 5. It doesn't end in 0 or 5. Can we do 6? Yeah, actually, 6 times 6. And you see we met in the middle, right? The list on the left, which is going up, is we've now met with the list which is coming down on this side. So, since they're opposite signs, we got to find two numbers that subtract to make that middle term coefficient of 5. Okay, which two numbers subtract to 5? Well, if you're looking, you can see those two subtract to 5. So, how do we place them? We got to put the 4 and we got to put the 9. Which one goes with the positive? Well, the sign of that middle term is positive. That means there was a bigger number of positives than negatives. Since there's a bigger number of positives than negatives, the bigger number has to go with the positives. So we say 9 goes there, and then the 4 goes there. Okay? We need to check it to see if we did it right. So let's boil it back together. V times V, so first, outer, inner, last, right? First, V times V, V squared. Outer, V times -4, -4V. Inner, 9 times V, 9V. And last, 9 times -4, -36. We've got these two middle terms that are alike. They're like terms, so we can combine them. And then we got V squared, -4 plus 5. I'm sorry, -4 plus 9 is positive 5, positive 5V, minus 36. And if we look, that's what we started with, V squared plus 5V minus 36. So we did it right. Check. Done.